Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast once again, here with an amazing guest. I just love what we're going to be talking about. I love my guest today, and miraculous living. I mean, that's how much better does it get than that? That's what everybody would love to allow it to happen in their life, and that's never too late. Like, hey, my ship had passed me by. You know, I'm 60s, I'm 70s, I'm 80s. Well, Wendy will have something to share with you about that, and she's no, total young whippersnapper either. So, you'll see how this works. So, anyway, if you ever felt like even at whatever 30s, 40s, 50s, some people in their 20s are like, I'm 29, I'm already like so old. Like, how is anything ever going to happen? People have all kinds of stories. So, she's going to help you move through that, understand how to live miraculously, and let outrageous, incredible, results happen in your life. We're going to get right into it in a moment. Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free Meditate, Make Money meditation today. All right. So welcome to the show, Wendy.
Hi, Dan. Wonderful to be with you.
Wonderful to be with you. And so it's just been so fun. I'll just share with the audience because it's been kind of fun in a way. It's like we've been trying to get this show set up for a while. And it's something we keep coming up, and finally I said, "Oh, the third time's a charm." You agreed. Like, third time's a charm. Here we are, doing this show today, and so I know it's going to be an amazing show today.
Oh, thanks. I know we're here.
You're here. Okay. All right. So let me share with the audience about you. Wendy Darling is the founder of Miraculous Living Institute, with more than 35 hours of experience as a relationship and transformational results expert, speakers, seminar facilitator, management and organizational development consultant, master healer, and coach. Wendy has created a unique and innovative system, the Miraculous Living Method. It allows people to get the results they want with greater ease and speed. Always looking for more of that. Wendy works with all facets of relationships. Singles who want to finally attract love in their life, attract love now. Couples who want to replenish the relationships, miraculous loving, relationship with your body and health, loving yourself lean. Business owners and executives and their personnel to strengthen the team for greater productivity and profits. Wendy also trains and certifies coaches and practitioners in her programs and methodology. That's great. That's great. Wendy formerly hosted 2 of her own radio shows and has been featured in Forbes as well as numerous other publications. She is the #1 best-selling author of Create Your Miraculous Life, It's Never Too Late, and The Miracle That Is Your Life. Wendy's clients repeatedly refer to her as their personal fairy godmother for assisting them in turning their dreams into reality, regardless of where they are in life. All right, so let's talk about that, Wendy. So what has inspired you to get into all this miraculous living? There must have been something like the way. How did it come to you? We're a spiritual show, so we like to hear about how you got your download on this. So how did it come to you? Oh my God, life's miraculous. It's about miraculous living. Like, how did all this come to you to start embodying that for yourself and share it with the world?
Yeah, it's really been a journey. And if I could just add one little point, when you were making my introduction, you said that I've been doing this for 35 hours. And actually,
oh my God,
actually, it's been a few more hours than that. This is actually my 40th year since 40th? I started actually creating my business. But so I just thought I would mention to your audience, it's been just a little bit more than that, the hours.
Oh, wow. So sorry about that. That was a funny whoopsies.
No, it's not a big deal. So to answer your question, my life took a very significant pivot now a little over 30 years ago, where I was doing management consulting work. I was hired by organizations to work with their executives and teams so that they could be more productive, profitable. We work to really, pull out the genius and find better ways for them to work together and create better results. So that's what I had been doing for a number of years. And on this one trip, I was under contract with the Fortune 100 company. I had not been taking care of myself, in all honesty. I was not. I was traveling all over the place. I was very foolish. I was drinking juices in part, and it's not the kind of wonderful green juices that we get today. Remember, this is over 30 years ago. I was drinking juices because it was fast, it was easy. I thought, oh, it's going to help me release a few pounds in the process. And I started really getting out of balance and got very sick. And I was to fly from, at that time, Texas to LA. And I was at the Dallas airport. Never entered my mind that maybe I shouldn't make this trip. I was really sick to my stomach. I wasn't even able to keep food down at this point. And I went outside the Dallas airport to get fresh air. And unfortunately, I passed out. I fell over a ledge and I fell about 25 feet. And so the good news is I landed on my right leg. The bad news is I landed on my right leg. So my right leg was shattered. I had multiple surgeries over about a 10, 11 month period of time. And I didn't know for almost 10 months if I would even ever walk again, which actually I do. I also had some lower back fractures. I was later diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury that may have contributed to what I'm going to share in just a moment. Who knows? And if that was not enough, my former husband came, suitcases packed, around week 4 of my being in the hospital, saying he no longer wished to be married anymore. And even though I take full responsibility for my portion that contributed to his decision, we might agree that the timing wasn't exactly optimal. Not that it probably ever is. And then the real harsh blow came when we ultimately went to court. My former husband happens to be an attorney, and he was awarded full custody of our son, who was only 4 at the time. And that's really when I broke into a lot of pieces. All of that had been very traumatic, but that was like the last straw for me personally. And it was my mom who suggested that I might want to learn how to meditate. And at that point in time, quieting my mind was a complete oxymoron. Yet, desperate times, right? It's like, okay, I'll try anything. Because I was not that kind of person prior to my accident. I was just your regular consultant doing regular kinds of things. And so I went to somebody to learn how to meditate. And after a couple of times, it was at somebody's home, small group of us. And I remember going to Michael, who was our instructor, and I said to him, it's really interesting. Every time I almost feel that my mind is going to relax, I get this urge to sing. And he said, well, sing. And I started laughing. I said, you don't understand. I actually have people in my life that request I not do that. And so he just probably rolled his eyes and he said, Wendy, just give it a try. So I went back to that little spot in his house, got into that space, and I allowed what was this melodic type of singing to come out of me. And for the first time in such a long time, not only did my mind begin to relax, but so did my body. And I was living in Dallas at that time. And you know what they say is true. It is a little bit bigger. Everything's a little bit bigger in Texas. And I had this really nice big walk-in closet at the time. And I used to do my meditation in this singing in the closet. And quite honestly, because this was so different for me, I was pretty much in the closet with everything that was happening with me. And so now I'm back over at Michael's house. We've finished another one of our meditation sessions. And I'm walking down the hallway and I passed by another one of these people that was in our little group. And out of my mouth, I say, you have a block around your heart. And I'm thinking, well, where did that come from? And what was really a gift. So I'm walking, but my brain's going, what's happening? And Michael's son, who was just a teen at that time, he was somewhere behind me, and I hear him say to the same person, hey, you've got a block around your heart. And even though I was rather perplexed, it was actually the beginning of another phase of awakening for me, recognizing, first of all, the sound healing was way more than I initially thought it was, that I was really able to see people's energy. I started playing with it. I'm a very curious person, and I would work with anybody I could get my little hands on. And I was able to literally see where there were stuck points in people's physicality and their energy system. And so it continued to evolve. I later started getting downloads that are different designs.
For people
and
you can see
that also hold a frequency to them. And so what happens is that the whole system, I now have a whole system called the Miraculous Living Method. But early on, it was not called that. I was writing my first book 6 years ago, and my wonderful best friend, who also happens to be my publisher, Robin Simons of Crescendo Publishing, has this amazing way. She has strategy sessions for her authors. And after seeing her with one of my clients and what she did, I had never seen her in action prior to that. I looked at her and I said, I want you to do that with me. So we had a strategy session. We had paper all over the place and Post-it notes. And she really helped me organize my first book. And when we got done with that part of it, she looks at me and she says, what do you think the title of your book should be? And I remember I kind of intuitively got pulled over to this one sheet of paper. And I ended up telling her the story that I'm going to share with you right now. And I happen to have been raised Jewish. And even though I am not a practicing person, I'm very spiritual today. So in Judaism, when a child is born, you give them a Hebrew name. And my father had recently passed away, and it's also very common and traditional that name is in honor of somebody who's already deceased. And my father died very unexpectedly of a massive heart attack when he was playing racquetball. He was only 56, and it was such a shock, such a loss. And so I wanted to honor my father by giving my son his Hebrew name. His Hebrew name was Nissen. In Hebrew, that translates to miracle. And that's how this all began. And then also, my former husband's grandfather had also recently passed away, and his name was Charles. And the Hebrew name for Charles is Chaim, and that means to life. My son's Hebrew name is Nissen Chaim, which translates to the miracle of life. So my first book got titled The Miracle That Is Your Life. I renamed my business at that time to the Miraculous Living Institute. I rebranded my process, the Miraculous Living Method. And I have to say, Dan, at first I was a little uncomfortable with that. You know, I thought, who am I to be declaring miracles and miraculous living? Because my life has not exactly been a cakewalk by any means. And yet, for whatever reason, I really came, I could feel that this is how I was guided to be a voice, to inspire others, that miraculous living really is possible. And just like the title of my last book, it's never too late.
Right, right, exactly. Well, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful story about the name and then your background with the story. Yeah, I remember when we first met, you told me about that story, and to just fall. I mean, I don't even know that's just so mind blowing what happened with that fall. Like, well, it's a little dizzy, and it's fall right off that ledge, and like, boom. Yeah, that's wild. One of those wild stories. But it's funny how all these different things, are all part of the past, right? Part of the golden path for each of us, like whatever it is. And um, so let's talk about, yeah, let's talk a little bit more about all that, what you just said, because it's funny that you said that. I must have been picking up on your thoughts about this, because I was like, because yeah, a lot of people talk about, and including myself, like, miraculous living or whatever the terms are. There are always some big terms, right? Your dream fulfilled, whatever. It's big stuff, right? Well, it's so easy. It's just it's automatic. Yeah, there's people. I mean, including myself, at times, like we deal with anxiety or depression or grief, stress. We were even talking before this. Hey, can't wait to get a little break or whatever, right? Like, so it's I just really bring it in because people are dealing with all these different things, and my upbringing is into well, I'll just say my upbringing in metaphysics. It's kind of like, okay, thou shalt not be negative. Thou shalt be a miraculous life all the time, and that's your focus. And and I became known as the most positive man on earth, among people that knew me at the time. Like I was just like, no, that's good too, and this is good. Everything's positive thinking and everything. But then, over a period of time, it found its limits. And so I was wondering, because I feel your approach is different. So can you talk to us about where emotions come into it and whatnot? Because I find no matter how miraculous our lives get, that eventually those pesky emotions just keep welling up again and again with stuff to share with us. It's a gold mine, but it's like, they come up and they're heavy. It doesn't feel like our life is so miraculous anymore. So how do you address that with people, especially if people are like, oh, I've got too much in my life. It's too late. It's too late because I'm too sick. I'm too this, I'm too that, too old, too fat, or whatever, too skinny, or whatever knows. But when these emotions come up, I'm not adequate. I'm not good enough. So how do we deal with this? Even when people theoretically already understand, like, yeah, I get it's miraculous. I feel that some way sometimes, but I got all this heaviness to deal with in my life, and I've been through so much in my life, and I don't know how to really fully turn it around. I just, I see some breakthroughs, and then then I got more to deal with. So, what do you have to say to everyone that deals with these cycles, with the emotions and everything that come up?
I think that, first of all, I think it's part of the evolution of us individually as humans and collectively as humans. I'm not saying that this process is just, a straight line. It's an opportunity for all of us to grow and to evolve. And what you're referring to are some of the emotions that have been kept within us, that have been buried within us, that have been repressed within us. Because in the moment, let's say you're a young child, you get yelled at, screamed at, spanked, abused. We could give lots and lots of examples. Well, that's horrifying for a child. And it's not safe necessarily to express the fear, the sadness, the confusion, the worry, the doubt, whatever it is. So it gets locked down. And when you look at it, how brilliant that as a human being that we have the capability of this incredible survival mechanism, which is that's what it is, that now, as you become more evolved, as you become stronger, it's just raising its hand and saying, I'm here. So it's more of an up and out opportunity. And I think that another part that's really important is, how we have evolved in terms of how we can support ourselves and others in progressing to be living a miraculous life. Is a lot of attention has been placed on the power of the mind, which is critical to work with, and it's a portion of my methodology as well. There is a brain training aspect because it's very important to be in alignment with the head and the heart. But we also now know that the emotions, that's the real motor. And we want to be feeling what we need to feel. And sometimes we need to feel the yuckies, the scary. And a lot of times people don't want to dip their toe into it because they think it's going to take them down a rabbit hole and they're never going to get out. And that's the gift of people like myself, because I've worked with women who have been abused significantly, and within hours, they are freed from that. And that's pretty darn awesome. When I wrote my second book, Create Your Miraculous Life, It's Never Too Late. My life at that time was not feeling miraculous. I wrote it last year. We're in the midst of a pandemic. The book actually started out just writing about it's never too late because I was 69, rapidly approaching 70. My brain's going, how is this possible? Because also there's still so much I want to personally be experiencing. There's so much more I want to be offering. So the theme of It's Never Too Late was very relevant for me personally. And because we were in the pandemic, I really felt like the timing was probably more relevant than ever before because so many people's lives had been negatively impacted by the restrictions that we had to live by, whether it been personally, professionally, both, loss of loved ones, whatever the circumstances may or may not have been. People were forced into a time out. And a lot of people started taking a little closer look at maybe what mattered to them most. And so I wanted to be a voice. I wanted to create an opportunity for people to dig even further. And that's how the book started. And then I was talking to Robin, who I mentioned before, my publisher, and I said, it just doesn't feel like It's Never Too Late is the title. And she very graciously said, Wendy, let me remind you that you kind of got into this little miracle business. Maybe there needs to be something about that. So I took my first book, which is The Miracle That Is Your Life. And this book then became Create Your Miraculous Life. And It's Never Too Late became the subtitle. And I also need to add, and I seem to always get myself in these positions, my life was not feeling miraculous. I too had been very affected. A very close friend of mine had passed away. My son became very ill and he was hospitalized. He later came and lived with me for about 6 months. And, I'm happy to say, we're cautiously optimistic he's doing much better today. But given that, I wasn't feeling like my own life was miraculous. And yet I could feel the pull from within me that it was time to birth this book. So even though my first book I wrote in like a little under 5 weeks, part-time, this book took a lot longer to actually write because I think in a lot of ways it was my own journey of healing and my own therapy. And so there was more depth to where I had to go to be able to write the book. And so that's really how all of this came about and evolved. And so it's very important, no matter what your circumstances, a lot of times, you know how when we were little kids, or if you have little kids now, and you happen to go bowling, they put the bumpers in the alleys so that they're not always getting gutter balls. I feel like life is, we're guided in a similar way, that maybe you've hit up against a wall, but it's an opportunity to get redirected. And so if you have found yourself, just like my accident, thank goodness, I don't want anybody to go through anything close to what I had to go through. But it redirected me in a way that I would never, ever have guessed. And I even, in those early weeks of being in the hospital, I was aware enough that I was asking the question, what choices had I made that got me to where I am in that moment? And what was going to have to be different for me to dig out of that hole? And so there are ways to shift. There are ways to create more room and freedom. And there definitely are ways. My Miraculous Living Method is one of them, where we can look at where you are right now. We can wave the magic wand and get into your heart and really look at the life you want to be living. And we close that gap. And I'm so blessed that I've been given ways to make this easier and faster. And it's all very gentle. And you don't have to figure everything out. The system figures it out for you. So it's not like you have to relive your past, or a lot of gut-wrenching emotion has to take place. It doesn't work that way, which I'm also really grateful for. It's enough to have that trauma once or multiple times. We don't have to relive it.
Nice, nice. Well, do you want to demonstrate your, I think you call it the Results Accelerator? It seems to have in my notes here. You want to demonstrate it? Can you do that in 5 or 10 minutes or so, or a short while?
I can. And let's see. I'm going to have to just real quick grab a
No
pen.
problem. So what's our next step?
So the first thing is, I want you, your audience, to be thinking about the number one result, the number one something that you want more than anything else. It could be a relationship, a job, it could be improving your finances, it could be releasing some weight or improving your health. You get to decide. Typically, the 3 biggest issues are health, wealth, and love. And so, so I want you all to be thinking about just one result, because what the Results Accelerator that I'm going to explain in just a moment, it allows you to actually accelerate getting that result. And I don't remember any longer how this came to me, but it came to me. And as I explain more in a little bit, you'll see that it's kind of interesting. So what I want you to do is place your hands over your heart. And if you're comfortable, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and you're going to receive a number from 1, somewhere between 1 and 10. You may see it, you may just feel it or know it, you might hear it. And when you have that number, I want you to open your eyes.
Can I tell you what my number is? Would that be helpful or no?
Not yet.
Okay, all right, great.
When we get to it, you can tell me, because I'm going to go through the different categories. And I'm going to go through them just really quick.
Great.
So, okay, tell me what yours is. What number?
It started as a 10, but then as you kept talking, all of a sudden I got an 8.
Okay, that's fine. That happens.
Mhm.
So I think it would be smart, and I'm glad I asked because other people might have gotten 2 numbers. Pay
Mhm.
attention to the first one, pay attention to the second one in that order, because it's showing priority.
Mhm.
And so, all right, if any of you got a number 1, this has to do with your home. And it could mean you need to clean it, get rid of stuff. It may mean it's time to move. I'm just going to run through this, but there's something about home that directly correlates to whatever your end result is that you really want more than anything. If you received a number 2, that has to do with your health. So what is it about health that you may need to focus on to get your end result? Now, sometimes it is health to health. I'm thinking of a time that I worked with a woman who actually worked with me and ended up releasing 40 pounds in 4 months. And she got off a bunch of medications. She still stayed on 1 or 2. And a friend of hers came to see me because she wanted also to release some weight. Her Results Accelerator was not her health. It was actually her career. And she was not happy with me. She said, I didn't come to you for my career. I came to you for health. But that's exactly why this is a very unique system. So I said, as it turned out, she was very dissatisfied with her career. And so I helped her dust off her resume. She started applying for some jobs. I exaggerate 0. Within 3 weeks, she had a new job. And when she got in that job, guess what started happening? She started to release the weight. So let's keep going. So if you received a number 4, family. There was a man in my audience, now it's been a good few years ago, that it was focused on improving business. So that was the focus. His Results Accelerator was family. He had been putting in so many hours thinking he was doing the right thing for his family. And yet he was really missing his family and they were missing him. And he was in my audience and his eyes just got huge when we were talking about it. And he shared with me this. And I said, see about scheduling some time that you're devoting more time with your family. And then get back with me in a couple of weeks and let me know. And sure enough, not only did he spend more time with his family, but things started moving in a much more positive way with his customers and his finances. So again, we wouldn't necessarily think that it would correlate, but it did. So if you received a number 5, this has to do with friends. And so if that's your Results Accelerator for whatever your result might be, it means either you need to have a conversation with a friend. Maybe you're missing a friend. Good grief. We've been in this pandemic for so long. I haven't been able to see some of my closest friends because one of my friends lives in Toronto and it's only just very recently that the borders opened. And so you might be missing a friend. It could be that you have a friend that's draining your energy and you really have to take a closer look at what they may be offering or not. Okay, number 6 has to do with your career. And that's where you need to focus. Now, sometimes it's career to career. Sometimes it's not. And I think I failed to mention number 3. So I want to go back because this is an example that had to do with somebody I worked with that had to do with his career. He came to me because his business was not doing well. He had previously been very successful, but something wasn't right. And his Results Accelerator was he was supposed to start dating. Well, I want you to know, I would not have suggested that. I would have said, let's get your business up and running again, get things going, then we can talk about the dating and relationship thing. And what you need to know is I helped him with his online profile. We got him starting to communicate with women. He actually started having conversations with women virtually, connected with a woman in Brazil. He was living in Costa Rica at the time. In 3 weeks, he met this woman. They had such an amazing, strong connection on all levels. And out of the blue, falling from the heavens, shortly after that, he receives this huge contract. And because of the type of consulting work he did, he wasn't restricted to where he lived. So he ended up moving to Brazil in about 3 months from that point in time. So by the way, so number 3 has to do with your intimate relationship. You may be somebody that is desiring a relationship, and it's taking a toll on your health. It might be taking a toll on your career. It may be taking just an overall toll because you're wondering if it's never too late, if it's too late. And I'm saying it's not. I attracted love much later in my life, which I'm most grateful. So again, relationships, we've got to look at that as well. So number 7 happens to be community. So this may be something you need to do to network more, engage with your community more. Number 8 is spirituality. To focus on your spirituality. That might be to make sure you're doing your morning practice, whatever that might be, to make sure you're living from a place of gratitude. Whatever it may be for you, that is where you need to focus first. Now, you don't exclude whatever the result is. This is just where you make sure you incorporate on a daily basis in some way, and it accelerates the results. Number 9 happens to be finances. So this could be you need to clean it up, you need to focus on it in some way. It may be that you need to look at some different investing opportunities. I don't know what it is, but it also could mean that you have been worried about your finances, and that worry is actually creating a barrier from you attracting more wealth and opportunity into your life. One of the things I do when I work with people is I identify where your financial set point is, and we raise it. Every single person that's ever worked with me is restricted in some way in their ability to receive. We open you up. We dial up what I refer to as your magnetizer, your attraction factor. There's some other things. But if finances is there, pay attention to that. And then the last, because that also was one of your numbers, I think you received a 10 first.
Mm-hmm.
It has to do with fun. You need to have more fun.
Little sense, yeah. That's why I always say fun is number 1, is because I want to have a lot more fun than I am having. So it's like I want to have more fun. There's times when I'm having a great time, and then it's like, too much fun now. So yeah, that makes those. So I had fun and spirituality on mine. That makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. Absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, because of the last year and a half, we have had that restriction. And so we've had to become creative. I mean, I probably have watched more TV in the last year and a half, of different shows. I mean, thank goodness we've had things like Netflix and Apple TV and all those things. But we have, we're craving more fun. We're, a lot of people are craving just more connection. And thank goodness we're able to see more people again. And we're starting to be able to live a little bit more normal, whatever that may be, cautiously so. But paying attention to all of this, again, not only creates a foundation for you to be living more of a miraculous life, but it opens it up. And I think that's one distinction I want to make clear. It doesn't necessarily mean that every moment is going to feel miraculous, but it's something to strive toward.
Right.
It's something, and the more we focus on what might be miraculous right now, the more we are open and start recognizing more and more miracles in our life. Very early in my book, I quote Albert Einstein, and he says, there are two ways to look at life. Either nothing is a miracle or everything is a miracle. You probably could guess which one I'm gonna buy into.
Right, absolutely. That's wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like the idea of, well, we're gonna live in heaven on earth and everything. I talk about this too. As long as you're just aware that that's true, you'll be feeling it, you'll be living it, but we aren't always aware of it because we're human, and the sense of, oh my God, or whatever comes in about something comes in, and it stirs us, right? So it stirs like stuff that's going on for us, and so I love this process. The thing I love is that it's holistic, right? So like usually it's like, okay, what's the goal? All right, there's the strategy, or okay, it's mindset. No, we've got to work with your energy, and we're going to focus right on the thing and work on your energy. But then have we holistically looked at like the whole panoramic view of this being, this point in time in their journey, and what is really needing the attention the most, and how that could create more of everything they really want, right? So I love that. It's so true. I mean, I guess in my own way, I've been teaching that my whole life, but not obviously not you're not using your tools that are so cool, fun. So this is really fun. Yeah, I love that. I mean, give me the command. I have to have some more fun, or I get to have more fun, or whatever. Like, I'm just like, thank God, right? So it's just my joyful opportunity to be able to trust it then, right? Like, oh, can I be more, what I feel like is more frivolous and not trying to get after stuff, and then see more results? Well, if I look at like when I do see greater results in my life, I was always happier. What came first? Well, I think the commitment to happiness and joy and all those things. So that makes perfect sense for me. I was just talking about this with my accountability partner, and we both vowed we're going to focus on more joy and fun this week. So this
Good.
is right on target, Wendy.
Excellent. Yeah. And I think it's good because think about it. If you're having fun, you're happier. And when you're happier, your energy is expanded and your frequency is also higher. So many of you are probably familiar with the research that Dr. David Hawkins did and concluded in his book, Power versus Force. And it was a brilliant 30-year study that he really was identifying and measuring emotion, and created a whole scale. And you can imagine the lower level emotions of sadness, anger, shame, I believe in his scale was the lowest, frustration, all of that, just even imagining those feelings, it feels kind of yucky. So the frequency, the energy frequency is very low. And then we get into acceptance and kindness and love. Let's just go to love. Love's a very high energy. And what I really appreciate of what he concluded is when we feel love, we project that out, and we can positively impact thousands of people at a time. Right. We inadvertently can be filling up all these empty love wells. And what he found, and what I certainly concur with, is when you put in love, it also melts away, the lower, the hold, the ick, how's that for a technological term?
I love it.
That's part of a lower level emotion. You know, that's why the miraculous living method works. Between the sound healing, which holds a very high vibration, the energetic healing cards that I showed you earlier, individually, they're very effective. Combined, it creates a phenomenal circuitry that allows for the undercurrent to lose its hold. It just kind of melts it away. It's not like, oh, it's gone in and taken out necessarily. It just melts away. And then another part, as I mentioned just very briefly, is brain training. So a common statement, somebody, I either receive statements to give my clients. I also have a whole system of hundreds of statements. We also create life scenarios of what they're wanting to create. But as an example, a very common affirmation or statement is, I am safe. And for somebody that has been abused, that's a biggie. And so they're saying, I am safe, which may not even be an existing neural pathway. It may be a brand new one. And what happens though is they're listening to the audio, or they're listening to me, depending on the circumstances. They have their hands on the transformational healing cards, and they're saying, I am safe. Anything that is not in alignment with that statement goes, really? It rises to the surface, but it can't continue to live in that environment. So what's the beauty of the system is it keeps allowing these repressed emotions to surface and to be dissolved, while strengthening the mind, the neural pathways, so that now your mind is working in support of what it is you're really wanting. And that's why people can close that gap and see results so much easier and faster.
Nice, nice. That's great. Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. Well, I appreciate what you've had to share. I think it's time to let people know where they can learn a lot more, because we could be here for a long time talking about all that. So where can people learn more about you, get your book and all that good stuff?
Sure. Well, first of all, my website is wendydarling.com. Very easy, and there's lots of options there. If they want to reach out to me, they're welcome to just email me at wendy@wendydarling.com. And there are ways to schedule time to speak with me on my website. The books are available on Amazon. Again, The Miracle That Is Your Life, and my latest that just recently was released is Create Your Miraculous Life. It's never too late. And I have a very new ebook that can be found at miraculousresultsnow.com. That's miraculousresultsnow.com. And the ebook are how to rapidly remedy the 3 major issues women face. Probably anybody, but we chose to use that focus.
Okay, wonderful. That definitely would be great for so many people listening. And so check all that out. We'll put the links in our show notes. And so as part of this miraculous journey today, come to the part of the show where I like to share the opportunity to tune in to my guests. So are you open to me tuning in to you today and seeing what messages I might have for you?
Sure.
Okay, great, great. All right, so let's see what comes through. So I'm getting like, you have grandkids? I think you've told me this. Is that true or no?
I do. I have 2 grandsons.
So So I see you like, I don't know if it's literal or figurative, but I see you like doing crocheting or something. And I just see like you wanted to put more nurturance into with the grandkids maybe or something like that. But yeah, that's the sense I get. Like there's more of that energy that wants to keep being nourished and addressed. So I was noticing that. So that's one thing so far. Yeah, I just get the sense of generosity you have there, and that and the generosity you have overall. That like this world ambassador of generosity energy. Um, like yeah, like it's almost like being Santa Claus. Like, hey, can we get distribution centers so everybody can get all their presents and gifts and so it's not literal, but it really exactly, but like but it's that kind of vibe I get. So making sure I keep getting with kids that these kids need the help. The kids need the help. So I keep seeing that. They're showing me as presence, so I'm sure it's deeper than that as well. But so getting both. All right, let's see what else comes through. See the energy wanted to ground of your your of your potency, and also so it's like you know like an enlightened mom for the world or something, that's how I see it. Like so it's like yeah, it's like you're gentle but you've got a potency at the same time, but it's it's kind of subtle, but it's strong energy, like with a cobra energy, like oh, you're just it's like when you go to the nurse, a really nice nurse or something. She's like, oh, you're fine. Let's just do this. Boom, they jab you or like, and you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Like, like I'm not saying you're going to jab anybody, but I'm just saying like if you have a potency to bring to somebody, you have a way of bringing it where it's like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. Like, so that's what I'm noticing. So those are the three things. Any quick thoughts or reflections on what came through today?
Well, first of all, I haven't seen my stepson and my daughter-in-law and grandkids since COVID hit. So I've really been missing them. We have a beautiful relationship. I actually do a fair amount of work with youth. I'm part of an organization, CAYS, the Community Alliance for Youth Success. I'm on their board. And we empower youth to find their path, discover their purpose, and prepare for life. And I've spoken at many youth conferences. So that also is true. I love, I can remember years ago when my son, as he got older, and we talked about divorce and all of that, and his dad was going to move to a different state and worked it so that my son went with him, and which was also very devastating. And, I remember saying something to my son, Adam, and I said, maybe, just maybe, God knows that you and I are always going to be great. And he wants to make sure that I don't use up all that mothering, because there's so many other kids and people that I need to be working with in my life. And so in that sense, all of the points that you made, really do have relevance. The kids, my family, but also my extended family and just the people that I serve, both the older kids, meaning us, quote, adults, as well as the younger. And a portion of my work also is to heal and transform the child in all of us that got squashed or hurt or traumatized. And there's a very gentle way that we do that as well.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, wonderful. So, and then I just want to share with people that if they want to check me out, you can go to yoursacredpurpose.com, and I have a opportunity for you guys to get a Rock Your Sacred Purpose energy scan consultation where I do such work as this with you. And then we dive into the details of what's going on for you to see how to bridge where you are to where you want to go as a spiritual rock star, as a light leader in the world in your spiritual business. Usually that's what it is. And so you can take a look at that and take advantage of that at yoursacredpurpose.com. And then there's the Meditate and Make Money meditation. Allow yourself to just receive, be nourished in that energy of that meditation, open up those energies and chakras and then your guidance, and let it happen the easy way, the Meditate, Make Money way. Okay, so check that out at yoursacredpurpose.com. And so, one last thing, if you want to just jump in and get an experience of scanning in an easy, free way, I have a group on Mondays at 3 p.m. Central at Rock Your Sacred Purpose at Facebook. Okay, so 3 p.m. on Monday. So check that out. All right, so that's enough of that. And so, Wendy, we're going to give you the last words. Any last wisdom or words for the audience?
Well, basically, we're in this wonderful time of year. Stay healthy, take good care of yourself and the people in your lives, and really pay attention to all the beautiful miracles that exist now and the abundance of miracles that are actually trying to come into your life. They're there. Open your arms and start seeing and welcoming more.
Yes, and so it is. All right, okay. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Wendy. It was absolutely delicious and amazing. I love what you're doing so much. And so I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being on. And thank you for the audience. Keep on tuning in, and we'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. So the next time, everyone, goodbye for now.
Listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.